My name is Ken McFadyen. I'm your new county administrator. I've been on the job into my third month now, and I'm very much thankful that I'm here in Alleghany County, and I look forward to serving you all with the Board of Supervisors. And tonight we're here to talk about broadband, but at other times, if you have other things on your mind, I want you to know that you can always contact my office. You can always get hold of me and talk with me about anything that it's of interest or concern to you, or even things that you think that we're doing really well. We want to hear about that too. So appreciate the opportunity to be here. What I'd like to do, and we all know that we're here to talk about the Virginia Telecommunications Initiative Broadband Project with the Craig-Botetourt Electric Co-op, but what I'd like to do is introduce the county folks who are here tonight and then hand it over to Maya Ashby with CBEC for the program. So of course we have Shannon Cox, who is our member of our Board of Supervisors representing the Boiling Springs District. Thank you for being here, Shannon. We've got Melissa Muncy, who is works in the County Administration Office and really runs the show, to be honest, if you want to know the real truth. We've got Suzanne Adcock-Nicely, who is our Director of Finance. In the back here, we've got Jonathan Fitch, our Director of Public Safety. So public safety and broadband really do go hand in hand. And let's see, we don't have our state representative here with us this evening, but I did talk with folks, the broadband manager who runs the state program in Richmond today, and maybe in the questions and answers we'll have an opportunity to address what I learned then this afternoon with the state. But at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Maya Ashby with the Craig-Botetourt Electric Co-op.
Thank y'all so much for being here with us this evening. Like Ken just said, my name is Maya Ashby, and I'm the Director of Communications for Craig-Botetourt Electric Cooperative and Be Online Advantage, which is our broadband subsidiary. We usually just abbreviate Craig-Botetourt with CBEC and Be Online Advantage with BOA because you probably won't remember anything we say if you have to remember those the names of both of those companies. So BOA going forward, just to make it a little bit easier. We again are so excited to be here with y'all to tell you a little bit about the project we have going on here in Alleghany County. It's going to cover 370 addresses in the Crow's Hematite area, over a 42-mile radius in the county. So it's a huge project that we're, again, very excited to talk to y'all about. If you didn't get one of these flyers on the back table there, please grab one before you go. There's a lot of helpful information, our package information for our fiber broadband packages that we currently offer and will offer to y'all as soon as we are able to light everything up. We do have cookies back there, and also I do have a bunch of business cards back there. If you get to the end of the meeting and think of a question that you didn't get a chance to ask while you were here, please feel free to reach out. We want to make sure we get everybody's questions answered, even if you don't think about it right now. If you think about it a couple months down the road or just want to reach out to see how the project's going, please feel free to reach out. And I will go ahead and pass it over to our CEO of CBEC and BOA, Mr. Jeff Ahearn.
Thank you, Maya. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Ahearn. I'm CEO of Craig-Botetourt Electric Cooperative and Be Online Advantage. Started out with the co-op in 2017 as their system engineer. I've been electrical engineer at two other co-ops, electrical engineer and operations manager and interim CEO at Title and EMC in North Carolina. I, fresh out of high school, started working at a telephone cooperative. So cut my teeth actually in telecom. Got my degree in electrical engineering. Power distribution was kind of my forte in college. So worked with a lot of poles, a lot of underground. Underground is very difficult in this part of the world. Grew up in the coastal area, worked served power Oak Island, mainland Dare County, all the way around to New Bern, North Carolina. And then from Savannah, Georgia, at the second co-op down to Brunswick, Georgia. So all coastal utilities. So when I came up here, it was obviously a challenge. I can tell you that. You know, we can. I think I'd rather deal with hurricanes. But ice storms are something else. But we'll get back to the topic here. Ken, I worked with Ken over in Botetourt County on our first fiber project. This was during the pandemic, so you can imagine the challenges that we had. We learned a lot, especially being locked into an office pretty much 8-10 hours a day. You can learn a lot about this stuff, and we did very well on that project over there, and it's still really good and resilient. As long as we can keep dump trucks out of it, we're good to go. We've leveraged as cooperative members, and I know most of y'all are our cooperative members, owners of this co-op. There's a handful of locations that are in this project that are outside of it, but it's within the existing Frontier footprint, and which is just down the road here. This project has 42 miles, as Maya said, of fiber within the project area, and there's an additional 45 or 46 miles of mainline backbone fiber that we're taking from the Gala Industries area back around through Eagle Rock. We're tapping into a substation that we have there, and back through Boiling Springs, tapping into that substation. So we're leveraging smart grid funding that we got from RUS to build these projects because we have no communication. Now, we do use Starlink. I mean, I've got a couple locations over here we're using Starlink, and it works well in certain situations. They use some funny IP addressing for the techies in here, but it does work. Now, once you get an extraordinary amount of folks that are using that same beam going up to space, it's a shared bandwidth, and so that shared bandwidth then starts degrading and you may see buffering if you're streaming something. We have dedicated fiber pipes, basically. It's a channel that's allocated to your address. So it's not like we're sharing that distribution at a certain node. You're actually getting a dedicated pipe back to our electronics Stone Cold Gap, and then it's sent to Richmond, Virginia to a data center. With that, we can do, we're doing broadband at symmetrical speed, so we're not choking up down the upload speed. So you're getting the same speed upload as you do receive and download, which is great. I'll tell you, again, I have a cooperative mindset. I want to think about my cooperative members. I can tell you that the 250 by 250 is probably going to satisfy 95% of y'all's needs, because what you're getting there is ultra low latency. It's like 12 to 10 millisecond latency. I know this is very technical, but folks that are gamers, they like that. Streamers, they like that. So when you address a website, it almost immediately paints. And so that's what you want. Now, if you have a lot of devices connected to it, and we've got members that I've spoke to, and once they get connected, they're telling me we got 2 or 3 devices connected, and we can then take a peek inside and say, well, you've got 15 devices connected to it right now. Now, some of them may be smart devices like refrigerators or thermostats and stuff like that. But every little thing takes a little bit of bandwidth. And so that's when you start looking at the bigger packages. If you've got 2 or 3 TVs, you've got children, grandchildren coming in, you may see some issues or hear complaints from grandchildren. So the project area, as you can see, this comes in, we're actually feeding, let me back this out just a little bit. I'll kind of give you an idea. We're actually hitting the Boiling Springs substation area and coming down through this area and connecting near our substation right here at Bellinger. And that's how it's going to distribute out into this area. Now, we took in consideration the folks in West Virginia, later builds. So there is enough fiber count to accommodate future growth. And as we expand that network, we've taken that into consideration. The vast majority of this is going to be overhead. So it's going to follow our lines, and a lot of that, goes across national forest. So we're going to be starting construction here in the next few weeks. We're starting to receive material. In fact, I got a warehouse that's full of electronics on one side and spools of fiber coming in for this project. Local contractor, we're using Taylor's. Folks are from right here in this area. I got a few of them that live over in Greenbrier County in West Virginia. So good locals, they know this area very well because they bear hunt in this part of the world. The project is looking shape. Right now, our projected completion date is June of 26. So we're looking at less than a year now. We started the ordering and the engineering processes in January. Going through and doing the low-level engineering work, we had to go pole to pole. And that happened, obviously, about the time we started seeing snow and ice and all that. So it did present some delays. We completed that about 2-3 months ago, and now we're actually doing make-ready work. So make-ready work is taking poles that will not meet National Electric Safety Code when we install our fiber optic cable. Now, we are able to build in electrical space, which means we're above most of the telecom, so we're right below our neutral. That allows us to have minimal make-ready work. But we do have a few areas that we're addressing right now where we have to maybe drop T-Mobile Lumos down in a couple areas to make sure that they and we meet the separation requirements, but that should be wrapping up within the next few weeks. Our plans are to start at the most difficult locations and work our way down, anticipating bad weather in December, January, and February. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We'll have 2 sets of contractors working from the Gala Industry sides back over towards this direction, and then our general contractor who's doing the low-level construction here within the project area, which is the distribution nodes, are what they refer to as OLTs and ONTs. So there's the ONT. Now this is the equipment that would be in your house. It has what they refer to as a soft fiber drop. This fiber interfaces with the fiber coming in overhead, so it's minimal hole. We may be able to use existing holes or infiltration points into the home. And this device will just sit like an Alexa or what have you on the tabletop. It has 2 POTS ports, which are plain old telephone ports. You can use your regular old headset. You do not have to have a special headset. We can take your existing phone number and port that number to our system so you won't lose your existing phone number if you want to hold on to it. Now, folks that are conscious about their budget, you don't have to have a landline phone. You can use your cell phone and push it through the Wi-Fi, which a lot of our members are doing. There are folks that like to have their traditional hardwired handset. To do that, you just plug into it. Once it's been provisioned or set up from our office, we'll request that phone number be ported to our system. It takes 2 to 3 days typically, and then once we receive that number, then we can allocate it to your address, and then plug your phone into it, and you got a dial tone. So it's $39.95 or $99 per month for unlimited phone service, no long distance in the lower 48, very low long distance anywhere outside of that. And I would recommend, we offer battery backup, but when you plug a battery UPS into either the 120 volt input to it, or it has a plug for a special one that we sell. And you can get a UPS like that at Walmart for a minimal price. And it will run that device. You can actually size it to where it run multiple days without power. But this light it's nothing but light going through that. So it transmits that light. Our other equipment has battery UPSs, and then once it gets to Stone Cold Gap, we have a UPS there plus a generator backup. So all that has some redundancy associated with the battery backup. Also with that, when you have that UPS in, you also can connect to the internet as well. Assuming that everything at our delivery point where we connect to Mid-Atlantic Broadband going back to RichWeb in Richmond is internet. And knock on wood, I've had it go down once from Mid-Atlantic Broadband in the since 2021 when we first lit up the network. And that was due to a new customer being cut in the Roanoke area, and they tapped into the wrong line. They tapped into ours instead of a dark fiber. So it took
on a landline in your house.
Yes, sir.
Be attached to that.
Yes, sir. You can plug your regular home line that you have right now. That Cat 3 connection, it'll plug right into that.
So Verizon or whoever's not involved, only you guys.
Only us. Yes, sir. That's correct. So what you do is, let's say you want to port your phone number. You give us your phone number. We then send through a universal system where we request that number be released from whoever the carrier that holds it. In 2 to 3 days, it's released. We then have it, and then we can port it to your device.
So charges on a phone, landline, right now we pay extra for long distance and all that sort of thing.
Yes,
What do we do here?
It's unlimited long distance within the lower 48. So anywhere under the contiguous continental United States is all
No
toll free. No, it's built into that monthly fee.
So
Yeah,
you're
we
saying
know what that monthly fee is.
the $39 on top of this internet fees, right?
So if you wanted just phone service, $39.95 or $99, I don't recall exactly what the number is. It's quite
Just say
there.
40.
$40, that's right. If you bundle it with a broadband package, we take $10 off the price of the phone. Yes.
So that would be in addition to charges for this.
If you want the phone service, yes, sir. But you do not have to have broadband internet to have phone service. So if you only want phone service, we'll install this and you pay for the phone service only.
You do phone service and you don't have to have the internet.
That's correct.
If you do the internet service, broadband and phone, it would be additional to this price.
Yes, but we dropped the phone price by $10, so it'd be $29.95 on top of the price there. Yes, sir. And so, and it's pushing it through, so it's converting it over to electrical signal to power your phone, but then it converts it to light, and then it's transmitted down. And it's the same thing the telcos, telcos do. They take your electric signal, and once it hits that central office, they convert it to light, and that's how it hits the outside world.
And this is all going through Craig-Botetourt.
That's correct, yes, sir. We have agreements with companies, that's all they do. So like the phone service is through Allianz, and it's a national carrier that does voice over IP systems. And so they're the ones, they have two data centers. One of it is on the West Coast, and one is on the East Coast. And so what happens is they test that. If a data center goes down for whatever reason, if it's connectivity to it, like a fiber cut, is most likely, or let's say a major power outage or issue at a data center, that data center goes down and it switches over to the West Coast data center almost seamlessly. Now, if you're on a call, it most likely will disconnect you, but you will be able to hang up the phone and then pick up signal if the data centers go down.
So each residence where a pole goes by, you're going to have a attachment to your cable, to your fiber optics, to interface with that one. You're going to have to attach to that.
That's right. So we'll have the main line fiber coming down, and we may not do it past each house, but we may go centrally and put a node. We use
You have a terminal.
an MST type connector, so it's a mechanical connector, so we don't fusion splice the fiber. It screws in, mechanical connection, and then the fiber drops brought to that house, and then we bring it to a little small nid on the side of the house, and that this right here, the soft drop is what interfaces with that, and it goes in the house.
So everything will have to come in aerial. You won't have to do anything. You can't do anything underground.
So what we do underground on service drops, so if your existing electrical service is underground, what we do is we follow that electrical service underground. So it comes in underground if you have electrical service underground. And if it's overhead, we typically follow the same pole line coming in where the service hits the mast on the side of the house and drop down. That's where we're coming in with the fiber.
So how are you going to do it underground? You're going to trench it?
Yeah, we have what they refer to as it's a micro trencher. I mean, it cuts through broken shell and slate pretty well. Limestone is a challenge. It is.
You say mine's over a concrete pad.
That may make it difficult. And once we get over here, we may find soil conditions, or I know that looking on the electrical side, there's areas that we have difficulty putting underground service in, but I haven't had the guys tell me that they haven't been able to put it in. They may spend 2 days there putting the service.
So if Craig loses power, will that affect this internet?
So as long as it doesn't sever the fiber optics, like if a tree falls across. But what we found is we built underneath, the power line actually protects the fiber. So you've got overhead line that's open conductor for the power. And a tree hits, that's what it's going to hit first. Now we have seen it where it hits and slips past it and hits the comm underneath of it, but it's very resilient. We use what is referred to as ADSS fiber, so it's an all dielectric fiber. It allows us to build in the electrical space. It uses, instead of steel as a messenger, it uses Kevlar. So it's all insulated material. But it can break, but if we lose power, your question is, if we lose power?
The grid, yeah, if like Craig goes down.
So if you do not have that battery backup, And again, that we have some members that, we're fine without it. And then when the power goes out, they're like, oh, you know what, we do need that battery
So
snapped
like
back.
if you have a whole house generator, would it still work?
Yes, ma'am. So what we do is, again, it's light, and then any device that we hit that repeats that signal, we've got battery backup at that location as well, and it's multiple day battery backup. And so if we have a 4, 5, 6 day ice storm come through, God forbid, or a derecho or something like that, but like I said, the weather around here is very volatile. I never realized how volatile it was until, you look at it and they're telling you it's going to be blowing 15 miles an hour, but we're seeing 40 or 50, on top of Peters Mountain up here, if not more. And that's where our lines cross over. So if we lose power, a typical UPS, you can get the small ones, they're good for about 12 hours. That's good for most, and they're about $20, $30 UPSs. Or you can buy one for $60 or $75 and probably have multiple days, 3 days worth of battery backup. And again, access to the internet, and if you have it, and phone service.
Where is your distribution boxes going to be and how far apart are they?
Where we're actually tapping in. So it depends. We put them in, cut them in where there's existing population or existing home density, and we build it out. So we may, if there's a high concentration of homes, we may decide to do a 12-port terminal. We do also do 4-port terminals. I have a few that we've changed the design. Instead of having it out on the main line, it made more sense to build a smaller count fiber up to where the homes are and then do service drop out. Sometimes you don't catch that on the initial design, but we typically rectify that in construction and through change orders.
Now, does the speeds get slower the further away you are?
No, sir. No, sir. So it doesn't work like electrical RF, transmitting an RF signal through copper. Now, we do lose light, but it's still ones and zeros. And so if it can see that, it converts it over to RF. I didn't mention also, these have built-in Wi-Fi. So no Wi-Fi, you don't need another Wi-Fi unit. However, we have seen, members that had relatively long ranch-style homes, and their existing telco or existing electric come up on one side of the house. And they wanted the ONT on that side of the house. And this RF, when you're looking at anything in that higher gigahertz range, you got the 2.5 and the 5 gig channels. The 2.5 propagates or goes farther away. The 5 is much more robust in speeds, but it's a lot less signal strength the distance the farther you go away from the device. We do sell mesh extenders, and the mesh extenders are out-of-band mesh extenders, so they don't use the bandwidth on the Wi-Fi. It uses another frequency, and so you can just plug those in, and they mesh right back to this, and its signal extends out through the home. So that way you've got yourself covered. And then also you can also tap into it and buy aftermarket microwave type devices. If you've got a barn that you want to have Wi-Fi service back there, you can set it up on the side of your house, pipe it back. I've seen them on Amazon for a couple $100, if that.
And the device you sell, what's the footage does it carry? 20 foot, 30 foot?
So it uses, it depends, and it depends on what the wall studs are.
Okay.
But you're right, it's about 20, 30 feet. In some instances, it may be closer to 60 feet.
Okay.
I have a few that are actually using it. They got it set up in their house and they're picking up signal in the barn, but the barn is maybe 25 yards away from the house and no obstacles or anything to obstruct it. But we had a house that had steel wall studs, and you put it in that room, it was like a Faraday cage. It shielded it, and it did not allow the signal to come through, so they had plenty of mesh extenders through there, unfortunately. But you can also plug your own equipment into it as well and have another third-party Wi-Fi system too that you may already have. You can also plug that in there too as a method to extend it. So I think that's pretty much it with that equipment. Every year that there's newer equipment. So these devices look nothing like the ones we did in Botetourt County. In fact, the ones there that were round and not much bigger than that drink bottle. But with the extra transmitters that they have to do with that Wi-Fi 6 protocol, or Wi-Fi 6 or 7, it kind of takes up a little more real estate. But they do have an extra port on there. I think the original ones only had one phone port. And so here you've got 2 phone ports if you need 2 lines. So each one of them are addressable, and if you need one phone line to port 1 and one to port 2, we can address it that way as well.
What about service? Who would you contact, say something went wrong?
So we have an 800 number. We have our guys that, in case y'all don't know, our labor force in the operations is unionized. So this is negotiated back early on as part of their responsibilities. They'll get up all the cable, get it up in the air. They know how to splice it. Electrical linemen are not, the definition of cleanliness is a little bit different on electric than it is for fiber optics.
Right.
And so explaining that, they finally realized, the residue that you have on your fingers can make it where it doesn't work. And some of the issues we've had, sometimes you got folks that'll take it apart and they'll put their fingers on it, and then we'll come out and we've got a special device that it click, 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 and it pulls the oil residue off of it. But a fingerprint will attenuate the light signal so much that this device won't even work. We've had plenty of dog and mice bite through this, so most of our troubles are, especially around picking season, you get them mice moving around, they like that. So, but it's very resilient, but a mouse will chew through a battery cable too, so, and they seem to have a fascination with it. But yeah, that would typically be the case.
But, all right, your service personnel, they gonna be in Newcastle or?
Newcastle, we have 2 linemen that work over here. Ellis Bates and Bobby Gaines.
Yeah.
However, I think Bobby may be leaving us here soon, but they do live over here, and so they're available. I also have a low-level, a more in-the-house type technician. He's not, he's a contractor for us, but he's on call.
Okay.
Typically, you're not going to see the same response time as we do on electric. So what we'll do is typically it is the next business day we'll roll in, but I typically don't roll a truck just for fiber issues or an individual issue unless we have cable down. Now, if I got cable down, we're sending crews out because of public safety and then and then also preserving our infrastructure. But yeah, any more questions on this device or a package?
Just to follow up on his question, are you going to have your own Craig-Botetourt workforce to respond for Wi-Fi internet issues, or is it going to be third party?
Mostly third party, but again, when it comes like for individual technician type in the house, you're having an issue there, we either resolve it from the office a lot of times, but if we have to go out in the field, typically we send a contractor. And the reason for that is it's a little more specialized when you get in the house. And the guy we use, he's well insured for working beyond in members' homes. Where our coverage that we have with Federated, who is our insurance carrier, kind of stops us on the outside of the house. Now, we do have a rider that we have that we could use for, but the issue is liability going in members' home. That's why you never see us go beyond the meter base. Our jurisdiction on the electric side is at that meter base. With the technician side though, it's a contractor typically. Now it's not all the time. Now we have 1 or 2 that we're sending for training. One has been through training. He knows we've got our own fusion splicing equipment, actually 2 of them. OTDR, which is an optical device that is used to calculate the distance to a fault where there's a break. We have that equipment in-house. So all the equipment it takes to maintain the system we can do in-house. It's just a little bit different when we go in people's homes. So I've had to treat it a little bit different.
What's the time to install that?
How long to take?
How long does it take?
Typically, we knock them out. My technicians are knocking them out typically 2 a day. Right now, Roanoke County, we finished at Roanoke County a little over a year ago.
You said you're going to put a fiber optic cable into my house from a pole. That takes time.
So there's 2 sets of crews. So you got 1 set of crews that come in and do the outside work, right? And they drop it in and put the NID on the side of the house. And the technician that we have that goes in the house. He takes this
If you
in.
go aerial, it's pretty simple.
Pretty simple, yeah.
But if you're going underground, it's very complicated.
It could take a lot more time in that instance, yes,
If
sir.
I wanted it underground, you gotta bore a hole or something under my house.
Yeah, or under, because of the slab.
Power cable goes. It's
Okay.
almost impossible.
Is there existing conduit there?
Well, we extended the house and went over top of the power line.
Okay. Okay, if there was conduit, because this is a all dielectric, we could put it and use it in the same conduit, but we'd have to look at that
It's
one.
simpler if you did an aerial. If you did an aerial with that simple cable, that's pretty flimsy, hang it up in the air.
Yes, yes. So what we have is a different type of fiber for outside. This is only inside, it comes out of that and goes in the house. Yeah, the other one is a fully jacketed cable, and so it's got that jacket on it to protect it, and then also the full Kevlar messenger, yes. Now, like you said, though, outside, we just hook a clip up there, and you can actually string it by hand. I mean, we don't have to use any real special tools because it's almost as light as this here. It's just a little heavier. Yes, sir.
That would be your problem.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And believe me, we've got plenty of them.
Is there extra charge for installing the equipment?
So the equipment, there's a rental fee on the equipment that's on a monthly basis. Now, that may change by the time we get this project. Now, right now, it's $10 a month. The installation is, unless it's specialized, is covered. Up to 1,000 feet away from wherever our interface point is on the main line is free of charge. Now, what we do is, right now, we don't require a contract. So you can sign up, and 2 months later, if you don't like it, you can drop it. There's nothing committing you to it. If we go beyond that 1,000 feet, typically what we've done is waive the contribution in aid, and then you're set up on a 2-year contract. And that's all we're doing is holding it because of the extraordinary cost in building that fiber service drop out to your home. So that's typically how that works. And we've done plenty of them where we've signed contracts, but initially in Botetourt County, we kept it, nobody had a contract. But our fiber drop's relatively short. I did have one that was mainline fiber come through, and the house, they owned all, to meet the VADI grant, we had to cross the property. Well, the property was an extraordinary piece of property, and he lived 2 or so miles at the back of the property. And so to build back there, we followed our existing pole line, which was relatively easy to install, but the fiber drop costs were very pricey. We still have them as a customer, but that was before we did the contracts because of the amount that were well beyond that 1,000 feet. But yeah,
Will TV service be used also? I mean, if you go on the internet, I mean, the wife goes and looks at soap operas and all that live.
so I use personally Hulu. You can use YouTube TV. Hulu and YouTube TV have the local carriers. So I don't have to worry about having an external antenna for picking up the local channels. They automatically bundle it in. You just type, once you set up the account, they have that address, your address in there, and it knows you're affiliated with the Roanoke affiliation or...
Okay, most of us have a satellite through TV or somebody like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We can't access TV shows through the internet on this?
You can. Yes, sir. You can do it. There's a bunch of free stuff like Crackle, and then most of TVs like LG has their own TV service, and it has some basic like news channels and stuff like that. If you pay for Hulu, like cable service or satellite service, you can get local channels and a lot of the cable packages that you normally...
So this is just another package you got to add to it.
Yeah, and we don't sell that. The only thing we provide is the transport on the internet. I have folks, though, that use the free services, and they got plenty of TV out there, but if you watch the normal networks, that a lot of that's not out there except for maybe you can find, I know my parents, they opted to go with a streaming service because their cable TV provider stopped providing service. And they didn't want to really go to a Dish Network or DirecTV because they've used that before in the past. And so they put up an aerial antenna up on their house. But prior to that, they were getting the local channels, but they were only offering in major, for free in major markets like Philadelphia and New York. So you weren't getting
We're
local.
looking for a way to get rid of some of these satellite dishes and everything else. We'd like to go through one
Yes, sir.
thing. If I can't do that,
Yeah, and you may be able to do it, like, again, the free service, the free streaming services out there, like Crackle and, oh my goodness, LG, Samsung has their own Samsung TV, and all that's free. So it comes already preloaded on TV, and you look and you've got thousands of channels. Now, a lot of them are not worth looking
it'll
at,
be
but,
on the fiber, yeah.
and you can use that fiber to get connected. So like this TV here, it has Roku built into it, and that Roku makes it a smart TV. And because it's connected to the internet, I can toggle through. Let's see if I can.
All the old western.
Yeah.
That's what happened to ours.
But yeah, you can go in here and the live TV services. So all of these are free. If you want to watch that, so that's all streaming TV services. They're built into the TV. And that would be, you have that access to it through the internet because these are all internet-based TV providers. Obviously, you can get like Fox Now, but that's not the same network that you see on your DirecTV. It's a different programming. So it may not have everything that you're used to, or the like NBC, CBS, ABC, PBS. You may find something on here free, and it's another market. It won't have advertising that you are familiar with or the local news and weather. You won't see that either. But this has got Wi-Fi built into it, so you don't have to typically connect a hardwired cable into these TVs. It connects to the box just like this is connecting to the Starlink devices out here.
Like a bad man, they seem so
But you can find, like DirecTV and then all the other things we pay for. You had to add to it. It just drives the cost higher and higher.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my kids, when they were still in high school, the last one graduated last year, and next thing I knew, I've got 4 or 5 streaming services we're paying for. I'm like, what in the world? I said, we're trying to save money. And well, when they moved out of the house, I started dropping. What I didn't realize was they were using those services in college. And they called and said, Dad, what are you doing? I told them, I said, well, we're cutting back. I got a budget. This is way too expensive. But our Hulu, I got Amazon Prime, right? And so because of shopping, my wife does, and well, you get the streaming service with that as well. And so a lot of older TV programs and newer TV programs are actually on Amazon. The other one I pay for is Netflix, and I can't seem to get away from Netflix. But every once in a while, my wife gets a discount for HBO or whatever it's called now. But it is pretty expensive as well. But she gets these deals every once in a while. We'll hold on to it for 6 months and then drop it. So.
But right now, for example, here again, the wife watches a soap opera.
Yes.
Yes.
Through the internet. And it's not Verizon, Frontier. But if you watch that reception, you always have the circle.
Yep. It's buffering.
It's buffered.
Yep.
It's slow. You don't have enough power.
You're lucky you don't go out.
Yeah, we're Frontier members, our customers. We have them at our down here in Bellinger substation, and we pay for 25.3, which is 25 megabits per second download, 3 megabits upload. We're getting about just under 1 megabit per second download and some fraction of a meg of upload. And so we use it to monitor the devices in that substation. So if there's something that falls on the line, we see those breaker operations, and there's a lot of times we're not getting that data back.
So all of those things are dependent on which one of these.
Yep. So if you look at the basic package, that 250 by 250, when we first started this in Botetourt County, on the Botetourt County project, our basic package was 50 by 50 symmetrical. And that sounds low, but when I've connected to the device and I I have, at my house, I actually have I'm on Comcast service. And so I pay for about 12 to 1400, 1.2 gigabits per second, and it's about 25 or 30 megabits per second upload. And our 50 by 50 paints so much faster, and the access to it is a lot better. So when you're looking at that 250 by 250, it's going to cover. It's going to make y'all very happy. Now, you can graduate up to another package, and part of me says, you know, for the for-profit entity, I need to be upselling this product. But I can tell you, you won't hardly notice the difference between the two unless you've got a lot of devices connected to it, or you've got a lot of streamers that come in, like you've got family that roll in, or 3 TVs that are streaming at the same time. You may see a little bit of an issue on 250 by 250, but my knee-jerk reaction is to say you won't.
Well, right now, we're on copper from the house all the way to a transformer somewhere.
Yes, sir.
That slows it down dramatically. And depending on how many other people are on it at the same time, might not be me, it might be somebody else. This won't be affected by that.
No, sir. No, sir. If you see buffering on this system, it means typically we've got a problem going on terminal equipment, either at our main fiber hut at our Stone Cold node, or something's going on along the way back to Richmond. I have a handful of issues that have come up since we did, like Roanoke County, for instance, and a lot of that was installation issues. It was not problems with the network. But again, the 250 by 250, the folks that have it love it, and I'll see 12, 15 devices connected at any given time. And that's part of the requirement on this VADI grant. We have to do speed tests, and so they need part of the deliverables to Alleghany County and to DHCD is providing speed tests at regular intervals. And I think right out to the year out after we've completed the project, we're providing data to DHCD showing that the performance is there.
You have to demonstrate.
Yes, sir. Excuse me.
Now, you can upgrade it anytime you want to.
Yes, sir. And if you want to knock it back down, you can do it anytime you want to. Yep. Yes, sir.
Data cap?
No, sir.
Okay.
No data cap. So no data cap, unlimited data, and unlimited minutes on the phone service if you choose to do that in the lower 48.
So your router fee is $10 for the fee?
For the rental fee, yes, sir. Yeah, and what we do is, that $10 fee recovers, we're going to have to replace this probably in about 4 years, just because it's going to be obsolete. Our next step is the network is fully capable of handling the next version of GPON, which is the terminology for the technology, which is a maximum of 25 gigabits per second symmetrical.
Is Wi-Fi 7?
I think it's Wi-Fi 7. I'll have to verify, and if you don't mind, I can get your information to validate. I know the last batches, the batch previous to this was Wi-Fi 6. This, I got to check, but what I saw early on in spec sheets when we started the project, I saw Wi-Fi 7. I just need to validate it.
Can we purchase our own router?
You can, but this device still has to be here because it does not have a coaxial or Cat5 connection for input. When it connects to us, we take fiber right into it. So it has to have a fiber point, and then it's addressable in our system. So this is necessary, unfortunately. And that may change, but we use Nokia equipment, and right now, this device is necessary. But I foresee in the very near future this rental fee going away. It hasn't happened yet, but it is on my radar, and I think it needs to happen. Right now, that $10 is covering that replacement of that equipment, inevitably, that we know. So when we put it on the books, we put it on the books and depreciate it over 4 years. So everything that goes in, these electronics, they're not 30-year products. Everything that we put in the system, 4 years depreciated on the books. So it happens fast.
The bill will be with the power bill, or will it be a separate bill?
Separate bill. Separate bill, and it's a prepay. So you're paying for the month ahead. And I think we allow to go in about 13, 14 days in arrears before it's softly turned off. And then you just call and cut it back in. But we have a handful of people that they enjoy talking to our member service reps. And so, but it works out well. And that prepaid doesn't, again, you're prepaying for it. So you're getting unlimited service. And for us, it makes a lot of sense. And it limits the liability to Cooperative as well, because the Cooperative actually owns this. Be Online is the service company. The members of the co-op own the system, and that's why we're able to leverage. That's right.
So it's free.
Well, I'll tell you what, in margins, and this is exactly what our board did last year. I'm proud of it, and then I'm not so proud of it because of what's going on in power cost. Your company, for profit, generated enough margin last year to allow us to not do a rate case last year, which allowed us to meet our financial requirements. So we met tier last year because of our Be Online advantage. So your for-profit entity paying back the membership, so all the members benefit from it. It's not just the ones in Botetourt or the ones in Roanoke, or now the ones in Alleghany. All the members, even without Broadband, benefit by this for-profit company because we're able to stifle down. I don't think I'm gonna be able to stifle a rate case because of what we're seeing. There's just not enough generation out there right now is the issue, but that's another topic altogether.
How long have you guys been in service? How long have you had? When did you start this business?
So we created the affiliation agreement in the LLC. LLC was done probably in 2017, and the affiliation agreement was in 2020, and we lit up our first member in 2021.
The reason I'm asking is, I know on your website you say how many cities you're serving and all that, but your participation is fairly low.
Yes. Yep. Right now, I got an area with competition, and it's fiber also, and it's Lumos, and so what happened at the time, there was 2 competing grants, and they had one from the federal end, and there was not a method of vetting where grants had been delivered. Since then, VADI and the Commonwealth have created maps, and now we know where the federal maps, federal grants are, and the state grants. Also, at the federal level, there's a map. So I have to report this not only to VADI, but to FCC as well. So we report on a biannual basis where we're building at, and they put it on a map. And when they look at it, they say, all right, this is covered and this is not covered.
But your percentage or your participation is fairly low in the various areas you have. You know, those of us who live out here in Never Never Land wonder how good is your service?
Yes.
Well, if you look on your website or anywhere, there's no reviews.
Yes.
None at all.
I can just go by what the trouble tickets look like, and in my opinion, things are pretty stable. Now, service, every once in a while you get a slow complaint, and it's typically because somebody, this right here is not as, but it has a maximum bend radius, right?
Well, the reason I'm asking is we drop Frontier like a rock. Depend on you. If your service isn't as good as Frontier, and Frontier is not really good.
Yes.
I'm in the world of hurt.
And I feel here's the recourse. Because you're members of this, and you, it's a wholly owned subsidiary of Craig-Botetourt Electric Cooperative, 2 board members, Jack Harlow and Travis Shrewsbury, they're your advocates. They're your members that are on my board. And so if there's an issue, if I can't get it resolved, then they're going to make sure I get it resolved. Or it's going to be somebody else getting it resolved.
We know Travis really.
Good folks, good folks.
Well, all I'm saying is, we put so much effort into this. We've had Frontier for quite a while. Frontier's changed hands, and we've had up and down with them. Right now, the phone service is terrible. You know, so I'm depending on something else, and I tell Frontier to go pound sand somewhere. How dependable are you going to be when I look at all the reviews of your business for this B thing, and there's no reviews, and there's very light usage?
So we have in Botetourt County, we plateaued around 45% take rate. So the number of addresses we go past, 45. So we were right at around 48%. So Lumos is taking a few members. Now what we found out, they went in and locked into a contract, and for some reason they're coming back. So we've picked up a handful of the customers that we lost over there. Now what they did, they came in and dropped the prices way down. They were giving out fake hams or something. I know they were doing stuff like that for marketing, but they would lock you into like a 2-year contract. And then what happened was, let's say you were late on your payment, well then all of a sudden you may have been paying $69.95 for this package, and now you're paying $150 for that package because
It's going up all the time, but right now.
Yep, absolutely. And the way they got you was, it was through a default in the contract. You didn't missed a payment or something, and or late on a payment. That's why we went with the non-contract version. Now over in Roanoke County, we're pushing, and we lit it up about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, year and a half, and we're over 50% take rate in that area. But they're in a situation very similar to you. Verizon serves that area on the landline, and every time it rained, they lost phone service. So no 911 service, no broadband. Things have been very well over there, knock on wood. Things are really dependable. Not a lot of maintenance for the cooperative. We just went through it and cut right away. I've got a helicopter coming through, cutting across one of the gaps where we have fiber, but power line. So it's all benefiting from the power line maintenance that we have as well.
So if you had no reviews, that means you don't have no bad reviews.
I didn't know we didn't have any reviews.
So as long as you ain't got no bad reviews.
I don't know how you do that. So, but yeah, what we're hearing is, I mean, I hear it on a regular basis that people are happy. And we've had one or two, it was extraordinary circumstances there. And a lot of it wasn't on our side, especially with the issues with the fiber. And it would happen at my house. Children coming in and bending this.
Now, kink it.
Yeah, if you kink it, it breaks it. And it's pretty resilient. But if I take and bend it just a little bit, well, what happens is light starts bleeding out of that. It's like a prism, and it starts bleeding out, and you start to have losses. Well, it may not be enough to drive the optics in this device. And we found some of that, where somebody put too much of a bend or too much of a stress on it. And we go out there, and technician takes a look at it, fixes the problem. So look, you may want to don't put this in a bind, and it never happens again. But that's the typical issues that we've seen. More mice and dog chewings than I've seen, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen with coaxial cable as well. Coaxial cable may be a little more resilient to it, a little more forgiving, but that's been probably our number one issue, is that.
How long is that fiber cable for the inside?
We have multiple lengths on the soft drop, so we do have a handful of members that want an extra drop so they can move it around, maybe to get a little extra signal strength. There is a little bit of a concern with trip hazards and stuff like that, having something drug across somebody's floor inside their house. But we try to mitigate it the best we can. But this right here, I think is something like 25 or 50 feet. And I think we've even got some that are closer to like 150 feet, but multiple lengths are keeping bags. And we even have spools of this same soft drop that if we had to, we could splice ends on it and build it in-house as well.
What about up above Alleghany Tunnel? Y'all going that way?
So we looked at that. We stopped just before that in this project. So there was a current BEAD funding that went a BEAD around on grant funding at the federal level. We looked at it. There was some problems with attaching. We don't own plant on the other side. That's Dominion. And so there's other methods to attach to our poles, but we're considered a non-let, which is we don't have a local exchange. Like a telephone, like Lumos or even Frontier, they're considered a let. So pole attachment fees for them are much, much less than what it is for a let with Dominion. So imagine around $8 to $10 a pole attachment fee per year. Our quote was at $100. So that kills a project there. Underground was a little over $2.2 million for, I think there was about 55 homes, something like that, or addresses in that area. Not saying it's impossible, but right now, the original stab that we have at it, and that railroad crossing is going to be very problematic. You can't, even though there's a tunnel there, you could attach to existing telco or existing space. They own the railroad right on down to, I guess, the core of the earth to up in outer space. So if you go over them, you got to go through their permitting processes. And so that was, and it was a kind of a short discovery on how long, on coming up with a quote on that, and we just could not get a quote out in time to meet that BEAD funding. But there could be some other options I found out tonight in the very near future to address that. But we would like to serve over there. I mean, that we would like to expand. The more customers that we have, obviously, it lowers our expenses on the O&M side, and that benefits all customers and the membership as well.
That's what you get for living on the wrong side of the track, Jesse.
Yeah.
Literally, living on the wrong side of the track.
Yeah, Mr. Ellis Bates and I talked a lot about that the other day. And he says, we can get over there and get it. I said, well, yeah, we've got a little bit of an issue with this railroad, and so. But I have a champion there in our office for y'all over on the other side of the railroad track. I promise.
I couldn't help it. That's my brother-in-law.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Probably not.
Any more questions? All right. And once we get closer to lighting everything up, I mean, I'm not sure what the county can, if we can do another meeting, or either that, or we can try to reach out to y'all with flyers and kind of give y'all some sort of update of where we're at. We are updating. I think we can do it on our website and through Cooperative Living as well. Kind of let membership know over here specifically in this Alleghany project how things are going. But right now, material is looking good. It's looking better than I've seen it in a long time. Initially, when the tariffs came into play, there were some issues, but we purchased the majority of our fiber optics come from the United States. Pole hardware, there's Malaysia is where that's manufactured at. There's nobody that makes that type of product in the United States. Electronics, Nokia has 2 manufacturing facilities. Not anticipating tariffs, this is well before that. That's anticipating BEAD funding, where BEAD funding required it to be manufactured in the United States. So Nokia is a European company, but manufacturing this equipment. We may have some legacy stuff that's made overseas, but the vast majority of it is plant manufactured chips and everything right here in the United States. You may have capacitors or little components in there that are manufactured somewhere else, but the core of it and the assembly is in the United States. Fiber comes out of South Carolina or Georgia, and we're using either Superior, Prismium, or AFL is the fiber blends. And to give you an idea, during the pandemic, we had some lead times that were like 18 weeks, 25 weeks, I think, on some. There was some enclosures that we had issues, fiberglass enclosures that we had issues with. But so far, the only thing that I've had was the splitter. So we go in with this fiber. I take one strand and we split it out because there's multiple channels of light, and we split it out in 64 strands. And so I take one strand and turn it into 64 in optical splitters. And so that has worked out well. We've had great success with that, and it's real easy to go in and plug a device into it for troubleshooting purposes. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned on the other side of the tunnel not being able to do that right now, but you said that you had just been told maybe of some things that could happen. Could you expand on that and give us some of that information?
There could possibly be some additional BEAD funding. Right now, it's not carved in stone to my knowledge, but there's some mixed signals on having satellite and fiber. Those are kind of really the two choices, right? And so fiber grades out better in a grant application than satellite. Now, satellite is getting better, and it may grade out equally in a few years, but they've got to put a lot more satellites in space, and I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to do that, because they are, right now I think there's close to 600 or 700 satellites, and they're talking about tripling it, and then I think the Chinese are doing something like that, and then I believe Amazon's doing it.
Run out of space.
So yeah, there could be some issues.
Yeah. So we have 114 addresses that remain to be served, not being able to be served by this project with CBEC. We did call Richmond this afternoon, and we spoke with the broadband manager for the state. They have awarded funding to Starlink, SpaceX, to serve these 114 addresses. Once they get their contract in place later this year, those 114 residences will be contacted by SpaceX, by Starlink, and you'll receive an opportunity to connect via satellite. Now, satellite, to what Jeff just alluded to, is not as reliable perhaps. It's getting better with the technology, but not as reliable as fiber. I did ask the question as to whether we could come back next year for another grant proposal for fiber, and there'll need to be some advocacy in the General Assembly to allow that to happen. However, without speaking to Delegate Austin and Senator Head, I think that they would be very receptive to our need to provide you all with fiber service to those 114 addresses if we need to go in that route. So just know that for now, it's satellite for those 114 addresses, and we will most certainly work on fiber if that's what this community would want us to do next year.
So do you know what 114 addresses it is?
Big Ridge Road is certainly one of those roads. Big Ridge Road. Yeah.
And so where'd you come up with 114 addresses? What's that mean?
Sure. I looked up the award from the state for the BEAD funding, the Broadband Equity and Access Deployment funding that was just awarded a couple weeks ago, and for Alleghany County, 114 addresses are shown as remaining to be served and will be served by Starlink. And when I looked at the map, they're all in this area.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, with the satellite, we use it as a what is considered out-of-band communications. So, for instance, if there's an issue with equipment at our fiber hut, I use Starlink as an alternate path into that area. So we use them. We got 2 of them that are mobile that we're going to be putting on some of our company trucks.
I got Starlink.
And we have issues, no cellular service over here, but we push our work orders and service orders out to our employees in the field, and that's obviously an issue over here. So we're looking at, we've got 2 of them that are considered mobile and placing them on the trucks for pushing out that data. But with this fiber network, we build in provisions not only over where you're living at to serve that area. It's already built and engineered into the fiber. But we also built along the route potential connection points. I can't use existing grant funding to serve in those areas, but it doesn't mean that we can't use private funding to do it at a later date. And the other thing that we're researching is owning it's not a cellular network that would be utilized per se for typical roaming and stuff, but a private LTE or 5G network. We're looking at potentially building that in this area because we have an appetite as a cooperative for it, not only for data to trucks, but this new AMI system that we're putting in place, it has to be collected. That data is collected. And so we're not only doing, your billing read at the end of the month on the cooperative side, but we're bringing back data every hour. And so I can see if I got something going on with system losses, which costs the membership money, outage restoration times. I mean, we know about the outages now in areas that we filled out before the members come home from work. What we found out is everybody, working folks get home 5:30, 6 o'clock. Well, that's when we've left. So I got to pay overtime to get somebody out for an outage that happened at 10 o'clock that morning. And now we're rolling trucks at 10 o'clock without a phone call. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking to do, is to try to streamline both systems. This system is helping us on Be Online to get that type of benefit for our membership on the cooperative side as well.
I know if my power goes out, the phone goes out too.
Yes, ma'am.
The Frontier.
And having that AMI is a benefit, but to your point, we know, I tell you, we have 2 phone services with Frontier, and I've got a technician who comes out and he tells me, he says, well, you know, you called and complained about this last month, so we switched you to the only available pair that we can use, which you complained about the month before, so we switched you to it, and so. That's right, and we need that data, right? I bring back existing meter data right now coming on the legacy system, and when I don't have that, I've got to roll a truck, and you know, our trucks are $250,000 trucks, $150,000 trucks, and you've got 2 linemen that are well paid that are coming over just to read a meter or to capture data. We don't want that. That doesn't benefit the membership at all. Yes, ma'am.
My question's actually for Mr. McFadyen. I just want to make sure I understand, for the 114 addresses that are not in this project, the state has definitively agreed to make Starlink available, or?
They have awarded a contract to Starlink, and they need to complete the contract with Starlink. It's been in the news, in the Cardinal News, that SpaceX has not been pleased with the number of households, addresses that they've received in Virginia. They wanted more, so that could affect them agreeing to a contract for Alleghany County. We'll see, but as of right now, they've awarded the funding to Starlink for the 114. Yeah.
Now, will that give, they get a break on their bill, or?
No break on the bill, but free connection, and it's roughly $600 per address.
Yeah.
That part's hard to compete with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if you've already got Starlink? I mean, what would that?
She just popped in my
Yeah, a response popped in my head too. Cancel it and then wait for the award. But I didn't say that, Jerry. I didn't say that.
Don't put that in the minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there. I'm sorry. Yeah, you've already got it. So.
Well, we couldn't wait on Frontier.
I understand.
We needed it. Yeah.
Understand. Yeah.
Any more questions? Hey, yes, sir. Yeah, we're looking very much forward to this. This is a big deal for us. And we know it's a necessity.
So your biggest reach is coming over the mountain, you say?
You come across Paint Bank?
No, sir.
Where you come across that?
We're coming from Gala.
But how you gonna get it across?
We're following our existing distribution as it comes through, coming up towards Boiling Springs. We're hit Bessemer Station, Eagle Rock. They come back through, it crosses over the gap, and then we hit Boiling Springs, and then it serves down the backside of the mountain, coming in where Bellinger is, and that's where we'll connect to our electronic equipment by the substation, and then this is how we'll fit back in here. But we built
Right up the road.
Yes. So yeah, that's right.
You're running the fiber optics up this way to get to your fire station, your start station, and then it's come back out and go right back.
Yeah, and so what we'll do is there'll be a node where we split, and I'll have a connectivity point to take it back across Paint Bank pots, right back into Newcastle. And what our plans are to loop it. That way we got resiliency, and I can feed it.
You're gonna feed it back. You can feed either one.
So if I have a break, the switch will automatically switch it, and y'all should, you may see a blink, but it should heal itself.
Good idea,
Now,
good plan.
it is, it's been a chore to get it come around, but partners like Alleghany County, McFadyen, DHCD, Mid-Atlantic Broadband, which is a cooperative owned, they're like a cooperative as well, so we do business with them very well.